What's up, Wanderers? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Nate Jennings, and this is Wandering Not Lost. This video is going to be all over the place, so I recommend putting it in double speed just to keep things moving along. We head out to Duchesne and start working on our off-the-grid bug-out property, and by start I mean we're going to goof around and sing karaoke, but we do some electrical work on the van and get the solar up and running. Spoiler alert, I burn up $250 with the flip of a switch, but you know, lessons learned. We burn the walls in the kitchen and start taking shape with the kitchen cabinet frame. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I just pulled up to the property. Jake is getting me some blocks to level me out, and tomorrow we have a excavator coming. So it's about 8:30 in the morning, and we got the tractor here. Gonna start plowing a driveway and getting some room for the shipping container. So this is the beginning of our amphitheater. Tearing out some of the trees. We hate to see the trees go, but we got plenty of them on the property, so they'll be added to the wood pile. But yeah, we're gonna clear out a little patch there, and the ground slopes down, so we'll have a natural amphitheater and hopefully a stage one day. So my phone's about to die. Just want to take a quick video for you guys. I'm working underneath the bed. I'm gonna try to mount the electronics. I'm gonna try to mount the electronics on that wall. It'll be kind of hard to access once the drawer is built here, but it'll be out of the way, and I'm gonna figure out some way to easily access the things that I need to. I'll always be able to go in from the top, from the mattress, and if I take the drawer out, I can hop in back here too. I have my Renogy DC to DC mppt charger and a couple bus bars I'll be mounting there, and then my fuse block I'll be mounting underneath the sink. Yeah, some of these heavy gauge wires don't flex too much, so you really want to make sure that you line these up, because if one's 90 and one's straight, it'll be really hard to turn it and get it the way you want. Now, to protect the cribs, I also have this heat shrink. So it's probably hard to see all this in the dark. Cool. Positive out. Yeah, this thing is super straightforward. So this will come from my car battery when I have that set up. For now, it'll just be a charge controller. We'll see how that works. I need to connect a positive and negative to the battery, and a positive and negative to the fuse block. That's pretty good. So it's 2 p.m. I've stayed up all night working on the electrical. I got the fridge running. It's super efficient. I got this Iceco. It's a fridge freezer combination, so I'm excited to use that. Anyway, I might make Salt Lake again because I can't get the solar to work, and it could be a bad panel. I did have the panel mounted on my roof for like a couple months without it hooked up. Some people say that's bad for a panel. But you think, you know, if some of the squares on the panel burned out, you get at least some kind of voltage. So the fact that I'm getting nothing is kind of weird. It could be the charge controller, you know, it could be faulty. The panel could be faulty. My guess though is this cheap fuse right here that I have that I can turn off the panel with. You just press a button and it turns off. I wish there was some kind of light to let me know it was working. But that could be faulty. You know, it was like 10 bucks. So I'm gonna try to troubleshoot. I'll first unhook the wires and just hardwire them together with a quick connection and see if that works. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I'll unplug the panel from the roof and plug in a different panel. Like I could pull up next to my brother's van and plug into his panel, see if I get a sign on the inverter. It could just be the mppt charge controller. Sorry, not inverter. Yeah, it could be the DC to DC mppt charge controller that I have. Maybe it's faulty, but I'm troubleshooting today. So I'll give you a full tour of the wiring setup when it's all done, but this is what I got so far. I got my fuse block with just a refrigerator hooked up to it. I got positive and negative coming out of the solar panel to this fuse, and when I want to do maintenance, I just pop the fuse off, which is nice. I don't think it's working though. And I got a positive negative coming out of the fuse block. I got the battery set in place with some brackets on both sides. And the brackets are lined up with the grooves of the battery, so it won't slide around. It's pretty solid in there. I got my charge controller, I got my bus bar in there, I got my shunt and my battery cutoff switch. So yeah, things are looking pretty good so far, except it's not charging via solar, which is kind of a bummer. So I just turned it off real quick. The device started smoking. Maybe if I turn it back on. Yep, there you go. You can see the smoke coming from the device. So something is wrong with it. There you go. So I just shut off the power, but it was smoking. You can see how it's wired up. Negative, positive, positive from the solar. This negative is going to the negative bus bar, which goes to the battery, and a ground over there. So we just pulled up to the property. Fireplace is still intact. Our bench I made last summer is hanging in there. Jake's got his van here. Got my van there. We just got that plowed last weekend. But you can see kind of here. Boom. There's the camp layout. We have a chill den in here. Normally in the daytime this is shaded, so we'll set up a bunch of blankets in here. A nice walk around camp area. There's some trails made from where people walk. But yeah, this is our second driveway, our main driveway. This is where Caleb will park his RV, hopefully. It's pretty flat to the road, so he'll be able to get in. There's our wood pile that we're gonna try out. What's he doing? He's trying to level his van out. But yeah, it comes down a little bit of an incline, but that's okay to let water drain. And then this, he leveled out. That's nice. So that'll be our shipping container right here, 40 feet. The doors will open here. We'll be able to put all of our stuff and maybe some ATVs if we get those in the future. We got some nice walking trails that we've made over the times coming. Some solar lights that we bought last time. I guess it rained. Yeah, it's clean panel is a happy panel. We got some lights in the trees too to shine down on camp during the night. I think we got another one in this tree right here. This is the aftermath of last night. We had a good time. Woke up at the crack of 10. Sun's getting warm, not too hot yet, but we're gonna hang up some sun sails and hopefully make some progress on the land. Jake's surveying the land. He's got the Mavic 2 Pro up in the air. We're trying to get some high quality images of just a bird's eye view, and that way we can kind of make some plans. Are you taking photos or videos? Photos.
So I'm sitting at the bar stool, it starts to grow roots. I'm feeling like an old worn out pair of shoes. So it tells me what it is that I should do when I'm swimming in the lake only halfway through.
We got karaoke set up, powered by solar. My new solar panels brought in 1 kilowatt of power. Our speakers are run by just that. Luckily we have service here. We're in Duchesne. We got our little projector hooked up with the Roku stick. We're just going through YouTube and singing our heart's content through karaoke.
Fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, down, down. The flames went higher.
There's like the kitty, the puppy, something. And
Yeah, and Midnight Gospel.
Midnight Gospel's really good. I like Midnight Gospel.
So, packed up. All that will stay will be the sunshade and our bench and the fire pit. Leo was great to stay in. Solar's been pumping out electricity. I got 100%. We ran speakers all night on the solar. And it's been really efficient. Leaving some chairs and fuel and the sign for next time. Yeah, it's been another successful trip. Time for the journey back home. I parked on some wood, keep me level. And yeah, she was sitting pretty straight last night. I had a good time. Happy with our progress. By progress, I mean we hung up the canopy. But looked pretty good, and we got some shade. Always good to kind of visualize what's our next step. I think we're gonna get a shipping container out here pretty soon. And then, yeah, move our stuff out. Yeah, next month and a half is gonna be stressful, but once it's done, we'll be making leaps and bounds towards our future. Over and out. What's up? It's a new day. Just got back from my weekend at my Duchesne property. I gotta take apart the kitchen today. I gotta pull the fridge and the main kitchen cabinet away from the wall so I can take the wall panels off and burn them. I'm doing a Shishugi Bond burn treatment where I torch all the wood and then I sand it with a nylon brush and then I treat it with tung oil. So it'll be waterproof, it'll look really cool. It'll kind of look like this. You got this marbling down here. This is just plywood, so it's a fake, surface burn. But when I do it on the pine, you'll have this tri-tone texture. It's gonna look really cool. So that's our project for the day. And hopefully the rain doesn't set me back, but we'll see. If I can accomplish everything today, I can start putting in more wool behind the wall. So, lots of trains. So, I got the wall panels off. It's looking pretty good. I had to take the kitchen apart a little bit. Unscrewing it from the floors is easy, but there were some electrical appliances underneath the bed that I had to unscrew because the screws are going through the kitchen cabinet. And to access some of those screws, I had to take out the inverter, I had to take out the battery. So yeah, that was a little bit of a project, but everything's apart now and it doesn't seem to be raining anymore. So I'm gonna try to set up the torch and burn these and hopefully they don't warp. And hopefully they don't warp. Yeah, I got a torch. We'll see how this goes. So I got all the wood laid out, got the torch set up. Time to start burning. So I burned it all. As you can see, when it first started, the tongue and groove started to catch first and really chew that up. Luckily this is behind the fridge, so these holes won't really matter too much, hopefully, but it's a real shame. I really wanted it to work, but yeah, these tongue and groove just were charring too fast. And so up here I got the tongue and groove wet before I burned, and I kind of just did a surface burn. So I'll try to do the real shushugi-ban, where I grind out all the char, and we'll see how the texture looks down here. But up there, since I wasn't able to really char it and just surface burn it, I might have to just finish it like that. It'll still look cool, but it won't have that 3D texture I really want. So we'll see. Maybe on the other wall next to the sink, I'll put the tongue and groove together when I torch it as one. That way they won't catch as quick, hopefully. And I'll have a spray bottle then. So we'll just see how this goes. I'm gonna start to grind this away with a nylon brush and just see how this looks and see if I can get the texture I really want. And since I'm gonna be grinding the charcoal, it was a bad day to wear white. Luckily I have another shirt in the van I might switch into. All right, we'll try this piece right here. So you can kind of see the difference. I don't know. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool. So, I don't know if you can see it. But by grinding it, you get these really high, the grain is like heightened, and then underneath, less so. But we'll just keep going at that and see how this whole piece looks. Well, not much tongue and groove left, but this will hopefully look cool once I put tongue oil on it. So I've gotten everything burned and I got the first coat of tongue oil on. I had to put these together and then burn it again because the tongue and groove was just getting fried when they were by themselves. So I burned these a second time. This one I just tried to sand. It's a little light, but that's okay. They're all very unique. For this one, even though it was fried and the tongue and groove is gone, it's gonna be behind the cabinet. This one turned out the best. You can see it's got that grain, that raised grain, and the different colors. And in the sun, it's gonna look good. Except I did make the mistake of sanding the other pieces next to the wet pieces, so that's showing up in there. But lessons learned. Yeah, it's gonna look really cool once all this is back in there. It'll be red and burned, and hopefully it'll look a lot like that, but all over that wall. Cool. For the train. Make Salt Lake is right next to the junction. Anyway, now that these are in, you can see how much wood was burned away. All the tongue and groove on the bottom pieces were just seared off because those were the first. Hopefully as we go higher up, we won't see any of those gaps in the wall. So the van's a mess right now because I've got to put 2 coats on this, so I can't put it together yet. I could just paint that wall since the kitchen cabinet's still free. But yeah, I learned a lot yesterday. I learned a lot of things not to do. So I went a little too dark on this surface burn, but that's okay. It's gonna be underneath the fridge, so it's almost just like background filler color. I was actually thinking about painting it black if I didn't burn it, but I thought, why not? Burn this edge. I'm gonna get a torch and burn this and put the first coat on here. It's the next day, around 4 p.m. and I think the first coat is dry. The wall's looking pretty good. It's a little light up here, but that's okay. I'm gonna apply the second coat. I'm actually liking how it turned out. It's growing on me. This texture is really cool right here. You can see it's like 3D. You got the tritone of colors, right? The amber and brown and black. So I'm really liking it. Yeah, I'll put the second coat and maybe start doing some small electrical stuff. Like when I went on my trip this weekend, that light stayed on while the doors were open and almost killed the battery. Almost didn't start, but I have a backup battery jumper. So yeah, I might replace that with a dome light that's LED that I can switch on and off. It'll be pretty cool. I have 2 different types I want to test. But yeah, I think I might start to do a segment on how not to do things, because I've learned more of what not to do than what to do. For example, if you do decide to burn your tongue and groove planks, one, you want softwood like pine. I don't know how cedar would work, but the softer the wood, the better you can grind out in between the grain to get that awesome texture. When you do the tongue and groove part is really thin, and so obviously it's going to burn more than the actual wood. As you can see down here, where you can see into the wall, the tongue and groove has completely charred away. Which is this piece right here turned out beautiful. But yeah, completely charred away the tongue and groove. So when I do that wall, maybe I'll do a whole step-by-step tutorial. But you want to keep the tongue and grooves together when you burn them, so that there's more wood to burn and it's not just like surrounded by oxygen and catching on fire. Also, this is a lot lower now because all this wood shrank, and the heat just shrunk it a tiny bit, and so by stacking these perfectly on top of each other, it brought it down like, you know, a good half an inch, I think. So yeah, account for that. I did make the mistake of putting the wall up so I could build the kitchen, which I think I should have just burned the wood, cut the wood. It would have looked a lot better if I burned it, cut it, and then put it up. You know what I'm saying? because some pieces warped, which made it hard to connect together. So yeah, thin wood will warp, thin wood will burn more. You want thicker wood. You want to maybe cut it out to size and then burn it, but you definitely don't want to screw it on until it's burned and stained and has shrunk, or else you'll get these gaps where the tongue and groove don't actually sit together. Like here, the tongue is barely in the groove. But overall, I'm the only person that's going to notice all these little cracks and imperfections because, you know, I've been focusing on it so much. But from first impression, when you see it, it's going to look incredible. So I'm really excited for that. Here we go. I'm not too proud of this one, but this will just be behind the fridge. I kind of wanted to just texture the edges, so it didn't look like some barren white cabinet wall. So yeah, I could have burned a little bit more, but I think that looks cool. It'll be behind the fridge, so you know, it just has to look good from this side like this. It'll just have some texture. Well, if you made it this far, congrats for sticking around. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment down below on what you thought about the video, what you liked, what you didn't like, and always keep wondering.